Hi everybody, this is Josh. I'm sitting here at our dinner table right now finishing up a mix of the first episode of our AWP edition of First Person Present. This particular episode was recorded on the threshing floor of AWP on Saturday, the busiest day. It presented the biggest organizational, technical, and psychological challenge that we've had yet as a podcast, and as such, it's taking me a little longer to get it together than I expected. So here's what I'll do. I'm going to split it up into two different episodes. The first I'm releasing right now. You're listening to the first of the two, and the second will be released in 2 weeks on schedule. If you don't like crowds, I have to warn you, AWP is an enormous crowd. So there's a lot of ambient crowd noises going on in the background here. Our voices are a little more raised than they usually are. We even make some listening issues when we can't hear over the crowd. This is just kind of the nature of the beast of this kind of episode that we recorded. So I hope that you can enjoy it. If it's not for you, that's totally okay. Come back in a couple weeks. We are going to be back to our regularly scheduled programming. And I know that we really loved recording this. And especially in this first episode, we had a delightful time speaking with Pamela Gullard, whose Lake Crescent and other spirits we have gassed up so many times here at Hughes House. So I hope that you'll enjoy our conversation with her in the latter half after the break. Hi, this is First Person Present. We're here at AWP 26, Baltimore, Maryland. Got crab on the dome, for sure, all the time.
I'm going to start by complaining.
Oh no.
If you came to AWP and you took a thin, dark green scarf from the lactation lounge or the conference floor or a bathroom or my bag
or anywhere,
I hate you. I love that scarf so much and I don't know where it is and I can't find it and I'm devastated. So that's problem number one.
That's
problem number two is that I've been trying to get into Dutch courage for a dirty gin martini 2 times now and a girl can't get a table.
We're gonna have to do it this evening, although I think that after this, we're here on Saturday. This is the third day of AWP. This is the day when everyone is just thinking about drinking, and I think that it's going to be extremely busy there later today as well.
Yeah, we're not getting in. And I would just like, so shout out to, he will not listen to this episode, but shout out to Brad Listy, who runs Other People Podcast for forever and also has now a little company called Deep Dive, for watching our baby while we do this podcast.
Exactly.
Thank you, Brad Listy. We love you very much.
We didn't think that the podcast hero would be our podcast hero this day.
Yeah.
But in fact, he is. And we're very grateful. So Dash, at AWP, how's your writing going?
Oh, it's going so well. Oh, I'm just hammering away. Between nursing this baby, not eating, not sleeping, and handing out postcards, I got a cool 20,000 words of a Pulitzer in my butt pocket. I've been taking some notes at night just so I remember some things. I've taken notes about what to bring next time to AWP, weirdly.
Yeah, I should be doing that.
And I started a biography of Albert Einstein at 10 o'clock, waiting for you to bring me a bowl of pasta and a bowl of broccoli last night.
Which you did eat, actually.
I did.
In the end.
I did eat that. And Albert Einstein is an interesting man.
Turns out, who knew?
I did have Josh give me a two-sentence log line of the theory of relativity last night.
And I don't know if I really knew it, but I tried my best.
I think you did. I was like, so what do you think the relativity is? Anyway.
I did take philosophy of science classes as an undergraduate, and they tried to explain it to a bunch of language-focused philosophers over and over again, and we were like, so time bends. And we were like, yeah, I mean, we can say that, but what does it mean? And We don't know, really.
How is your writing going? How was your time here?
I have been fostering a little splinter of hope in my heart, which is that I'm excited about a scene that I'm going to write when I get home.
Nice. Okay, great.
And I've been thinking about for several days before we came here, but just with all of the preparations of getting the postcards and getting the yada 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 together, I haven't been able to touch it. So I've got 30 pages of Madame Bovary left that is going to get me charged up, and then I've got that to write when I get home. Hopefully Tuesday or Wednesday, but I very wisely planned like a writing trip a week and a half after AWP as well, so I'll be doing that.
That sounds great.
Yeah. And then while I've been here, I've been writing the live blog. So
my God, yes! Which you should all read if you want to know what it's like to take a lukewarm shower.
Minute by minute, what it's like to bring a 4.5-month-old to a 3-day conference and be chained to your booth the entire time. It's a party. What else can I say? But I have found little moments to inject just observation and exercise my writing muscle as I've been doing that. I know it feels very silly to say like small moments in a long live blog to flex the writing muscle. I've been like sort of grappling with the form as I've been doing it because it's hard to tell. At first, it was like, okay, I had a lot of timestamps and a lot of miniature things that I was writing about. And since I've been like, I can only really talk about one thing at a time. And that has to like represent a longer period of time than I was originally doing. Because you can really segment out a day into minutes.
Yes.
And have an infinite number of things to say about any one of those minutes at a given time.
Yeah.
You know? Like...
Yeah.
That's the joy of writing. That's the beauty of...
That's the project of Proust in a weird way.
It is absolutely the project of Proust. I think it's the project of like, I don't know, maybe they call it life writing or something like that, where you're just reflecting on experience.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. You know, your live blogging is what I do in my notebook all the time.
Live blogging your life via the journal. Yeah, journaling, which is like such a fun form to read and to write as well.
Yeah, and should probably not leave the confines of my notebook.
Traffic swarms like bees against the banks. Glass half nervous. Glass half nervous.
So we're recording, and and it's fine. We're also just talking.
Okay. Okay. We're just talking about generosity.
Generosity in the author community.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for having me here
Of
at
course.
Peter's house. And we were just talking about AWP and any gathering of writers.
Yeah.
And what strikes me so distinctly is the generosity that people feel toward other people's work and toward offering their own ideas. And so it's a very energizing community, and I'm delighted to be here.
Yeah, writers. I think that when they go online, they are perhaps not their best selves. So when they meet in person, it's an entirely different vibe. And it is really like that. I was commenting on like at AWP, like the lactation lounges and things, and like the quiet rooms and stuff.
It's not a lounge.
But they're calling it a lounge.
Can we just... We're not going to start with the negative things. I won't do that. But it's not a lounge. It's a quiet, dark room, which is perfect.
Which is literally exactly what we wanted. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Anyway, can I grab Pam's book so that I can...
Please.
Yeah.
Please. Yeah. Can you just like bounce the baby a little bit?
Brad, can you watch our baby?
Just a bounce.
Brad Lissy is going...
Yes. Yes.
Brad Lissy is taking our baby so that we can do this podcast. Thank you, Brad.
Brad Lissy, podcast hero.
This is Pam's book. I just want to show it to... Am I doing the right thing?
We do have cameras rolling, believe it or not.
Yeah. And that's Pam, and she made this book. And it's really hard to make a book.
Yeah, and it's really beautiful. The stories in it are like really crisp, beautiful, of a tradition that I think people don't have the patience to write very much anymore because they're so internet-y. you know, going back to our internet discussion, but it's really beautiful, and you've had a lot of success with it, actually.
Yes.
Are you allowed to talk about the thing that we just found out about?
I think so, yes, absolutely.
What's the thing that we just found out?
I'm a finalist for the Foreword Reviews contest in short fiction, and I'm delighted.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we just found out, what was it, yesterday?
Yeah. And so it's wonderful, and you talked about, before the podcast, thinking about kind of instruction for young writers.
Yeah.
And an instruction that I always give for young writers is, first of all, do it. The blank page, you have to do it day after day. But then, don't stop. Keep sending things out. You will be amazed at where your book will be received. And of course, you can have the rejections. Somebody said they had enough rejections to paper their bathroom.
Yeah.
I have enough rejections to paper my family room. And so, to young writers, have faith in your work enough to send it out and to be willing to have other people read, and you will never know where that generosity is going to hit right for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that there's like a really, for me at least, in my submission process, I've had to embrace like a kind of like, you know when you floss how it kind of hurts? That's what submitting is like.
That's what writing is like.
Well, that's what submitting is like, I think, because you really do, like, yesterday, I was like, you know, we're on the floor at AWP right now, and I look at my email, like my personal email has a notification. I'm like, okay, rejection from Fence. And I was like, all right. I found the dirty bit in the teeth, and I felt better, you know?
I'm sorry, that sucks.
It didn't suck.
But it doesn't, but now you can paper your family room.
Oh, I can paper my family room and some more. I think that I recently looked at my submittable, and I've got like 350 rejections or something like that on there. Yeah.
Okay, I tell young writers, until you have 50, don't talk to me.
Nice.
You need 50 to start.
That's exactly right. That's a good number. Pam, what are you working on now?
Okay, so I'm a short story writer.
Yeah.
And I'm also, I should be the Chamber of Commerce for short stories. I think it's the most fabulous forum there is.
Wow.
And I was thinking as I was walking to the booth about what Edgar Allan Poe said about short fiction.
Yeah.
He's one of the beginners of short fiction, American short fiction anyway, in the 1800s. And he said, okay, this is our guy, Edgar Allan Poe, and he said, short fiction is an exaltation of the soul that cannot be long sustained. Isn't that wonderful?
I think I've heard that quote before. That's really good.
It's a fabulous quote, and it gives you a lot of license. So the other thing that I say to students, I'm talking about maybe thinking of giving some tips, is that it leads to a great sense of experimentation. So whether you're writing, formally experimental work or more traditional work like my work, the beating heart of short fiction is experiment.
Yeah.
So thank you for the question, and the answer is then comes the messy part.
Okay.
So since before the book came out, I have been working on a short story, and the inspiration for it was I had something I wanted to say about silence. And I wasn't quite sure what it was.
Yeah, that's exciting.
And I also have a lot of experience working as a waitress in restaurants. So I know how restaurants are run. And so for the first time in my life, I created a fabulous setting. It's up in the coastal mountains. It's set in a restaurant called That Place.
Oh my God.
Like people would say, you know that place?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a good title. That's a good title.
Oh my God, that's a great
That's a good restaurant name.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a restaurant. So in my mind, I have a restaurant called That Place.
In my mind,
And I have a main character, and I know a lot about her. And then silence.
And then science?
I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do. So I've written scene after scene after scene. And that's what happens. That's my process.
Yeah.
I don't recommend it in a way, but I do recommend being able to just free write and figure out, okay, does she have two sisters? And try some scenes with that. Try some dialogue. Have that work. So I have a lot of, I always think that it's sort of, for me, like cooking, in that you try a recipe and it doesn't work. So then you try it with some other ingredients and it doesn't work. But all those tries lead up to when you have the recipe that your sons say to their friends, you've got to have mom's lasagna. So we're almost to the keeper stage.
We're almost at mom's lasagna.
So you have a draft?
I have a draft, and I have the other character. There's a brother involved.
Yeah.
And I have a lot that I want to say about this brother. And so it's starting the silence that she had been wanting. She didn't want him to come to see her, but she wanted to guard that silence. And now, what effect does he have on it? And so that's what's underway.
That's great.
You start with people. Yeah, you start with people. I start with people too.
Do you?
Yeah.
It's interesting that
I start with like a word and people. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. It's interesting that you pulled that because my interpretation of what you just said is you had like a restaurant, a setting, and you had a theme, science, and now you have to puzzle piece them together.
Yeah.
And it sounds to me like you're writing from a thematic place actually, versus like I think the traditional fiction standpoint is people say like it's about people, you need to like find the person and then run with them. But it does sound like it came to you from a thematic place.
Yeah. There's often a thematic place. There's sort of an anecdote that I often tell that I'm going to try here again. Is another story that's in the book. Started with, I was very interested in somebody being disappointed in somebody else. So,
Yes.
What's the title of that story?
So it's called Move It Closer to the Center.
Move It Closer to the Center. If you want to hear about disappointment, that's the one to read.
Who doesn't?
Okay. Well, except I did not have a place. I had a character. I set her in Denver. I set her in Northern California. I set her in Seattle. She was disappointed in somebody, and the scenes were flat. And so at one point I had the character that I thought she was disappointed in, and they were cleaning out a garage, and a very violent thing happened. So there was a break-in. It was very violent. And I immediately knew that I had the theme, but I had it backwards.
Yeah.
I was very interested in somebody being disappointed in the main thing.
Yeah.
And then the story wrote itself.
Dash, you write about disappointment.
I do, a lot.
Do you?
I do, unfortunately. I guess I do. That hadn't occurred to me, but I do write about, or I just write about sort of expectations versus reality.
Yeah,
I think I write about that a lot because I think I'm kind of an idealistic person. And in my mind, things are always, I have very high expectations of everything as a person. So I think, but nothing ever works out in my life at all.
Yeah.
It works out, but not the way you expect it.
But not the way that I expected.
Right.
Anyway, I am interested in that because I was also gonna talk to you about friction too. Like when I think about restaurants, I think about noisy spaces, and when I think about silence, I obviously think about silence. So I think that there's quite a bit of friction, especially necessary for a short story, because you have this very short amount of time. You have typically kind of a tight container for the piece, and friction becomes kind of an essential element to create tension, to create something fizzy happening quickly. Do you find that's
absolutely agree with that? Yes. I think I like the idea of friction because you've already got two different people.
Yeah.
Yes. So sometimes people teach fiction as if it's sort of like problem solving.
Yeah.
Like you've got an
conflict.
obstacle and conflict. And even though I might teach that as an analysis, as a writer, I think friction is a much better way to say it.
Yeah, because I think you can do it on smaller scales too.
Yeah.
Like friction happens when you're talking to someone about getting a coffee. Friction happens as a result of a divorce, right?
Yeah.
I'm taking a quick detour. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm doing a 2
What are you
second-
getting? Are you getting Teddy?
I'm doing a quick check.
Teddy check? Yeah. Do you have anything else that you want to say about what you're working on today or your book, Lake Crescent, anything, really?
So the other thing about, as I say, I'm the Chamber of Commerce for short stories.
Yeah.
And so for young writers, short fiction is a nice genre to either pass through or stick with.
Yeah.
I stuck with it. And so the good thing is that you always have something underway.
Yeah.
I also teach. I have a very busy life, the family life, as we all do in community. And so I think short fiction works out. And that's this book. I don't know how old the oldest story is.
Yeah.
But there are 11 stories that were written at various times in the last few years. And so it lends itself to real life. It lends itself to having the writing history.
Yeah.
And the other thing I want to say is, if I'm a promoter of something, is my editor there, was so wonderful.
Galileo Press.
Galileo Press.
We're not going to be able to see this on the video, but what I'll do is I'll superimpose it.
Okay, here's my shout out to Barrett Warner. And if you can find a good editor who wants to see your voice and put together, because it's very hard to put together 11 short stories that have been written in different times of your life. But he devised the order for these stories. And people have often told me, oh, you have such a beautiful narrative order for all the stories. I didn't do that at all.
That's really beautiful. And I mean, that is the mark of a good editor, is the one that can bring out the voice of the writer, you know? I think that when people think about editors, they oftentimes really, I think myopically think of just like the changes that they're going to make, and they come to an editorial relationship from a defensive place, where they're like, I need to defend my voice against whatever crudity will be imposed on it.
They're going to come and be my parent. They're going to discipline my writing into blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I think it's this, they're always the antagonists in the relationship. And I don't think they should be.
No, especially when there are editors who will impose their will. I mean, famously Gordon Lish, right, was like a dick about this to Ray Carver,
but we don't know.
We don't know what happened.
We don't know what happened.
And I mean, I have to say that the Lish versions are better than the Carver versions that have since been released, in my opinion. But a good editor will draw a writer out versus, the imposition of something on top of it. So that's what it sounds like Barrett did, and that's wonderful.
Barrett, I will shout out to a lot of editors, because you work with different editors in literary magazines when you publish in literary magazines. And we were talking about Move It Closer to the Center, that story. And the editor for that was fabulous, was Sal Lester. And she said, I have one deal breaker, I want it or I won't publish it, and I have other comments. And the deal breaker, she was absolutely right. No question. I said, I'm blushing while I look at this, because it was so obvious that it had to be changed. But the one that was the most interesting to me was, there is a scene of violence in it, and she said, this one line is exquisite, extremely violent, and you don't need it.
Oh, wow.
And she said, I can tell you, as a new reader, you don't need that line. You've already done it. And I said to her, as one should to a good editor, thank you for the gift of that, and I took it out. She said, you've already accomplished what you need to accomplish, and it distracts. And so when you can find somebody fine-tuned like that,
absolutely.
That's lovely. Was a gift.
Okay, great.
So,
Pam, thanks so much for coming on. This is Pam's Lake Crescent and Other Spirits. You can get it online. You can get it, all over the place, right?
You can get it at Galileo.
You can get it at AWP right now if you're.
Yeah.
But I don't. But we.
This is definitely going up in 2 weeks. However, if you have a time machine, you come back to AWP 26. You can get it at.
You can get it.
Our booth.
You can get it in our booth
and
with
at
a time
the Free State booth, right? He has it over there as well. And it's a great book. So
thank you both.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Pam, and congrats again.